What are the advantages or disadvantages of using a number 6 nib versus a number 5 versus a number 4 nib, etc.? Okay, so let me explain this a little bit. I've touched on some of these nib sizes and stuff here before, so I won't go super in depth, but to give you the 10,000 mile view, wow, that's really high up there. Maybe you couldn't even see if it's that high up, but to give you the 10,000 foot view, the difference in these numbers of nibs is really just a difference in the size. So I have here 3 TWSBI pens, and TWSBI is the easiest example to use because they use a number 6, number 5, and number 4, which is what you're asking about. So I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. You'll get to see how much I have not shaved today, or this week for that matter. So this is a TWSBI VAC 700 that has a number 6 nib, which is the largest of the bunch. This is a 580, which has a number 5 nib, and this is an Eco, which has a number 4 nib. Now there's more of a difference between a number 6 and a number 5 than there is between number 5 and number 4, but there are still some subtle differences, especially in the width of these two nibs. Really what it boils down to is there's not vastly that much difference. There's a difference in size, but that's about it. You know, if you think about a pen like the Pilot Vanishing Point or the Lamy 2000, you know, these are iconic, really well-regarded pens. You know, Vanishing Point right here. It's a proprietary nib, so they don't have their own kind of thing, but look at the size of that nib in comparison. It's teeny, 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 tiny. Still a really solid performing pen though, so it's not like number 6 is the best because it's the biggest. No, it's just biggest because it's the biggest. And part of the reason that number 6 is really great is, for one, it's got a lot of surface area on it, so you can do more with the design on the nib. It's an aesthetic thing. Also, this is subtle, but the difference is you can hold your pen a little further back. Now, granted, you know, if your nib is not as long, you can always grip further back onto the pen anyway, but you know, the gripping area is, you know, further back inherently just because the nib is longer, and you get to see more of the feed and stuff. So it's a lot of aesthetic things, but it doesn't necessarily mean the pen's going to work any better or any worse. Where it really comes in handy is when you are swapping nibs. It just so happens to be that number 6 is a more common size, especially coming from makers like Bock and Jowo. You know, TWSBI, Edison, Goulet, a lot of these brands use these number 6 size nibs. So if you want to swap them out across brands, granted, you're voiding your warranty when you're doing that, so full disclosure there. But you can do that if you choose to so hack your pen, and you have more options to do that with the number 6 nib. There's a few options with the number 5. Number 4 is far less common, so there just aren't a lot of like number 4 nib units around. So if you get a pen like the Eco, yeah, it'd be great because it's easy to remove out of there, but you can't find spare nibs anywhere. So that's where it would be less ideal. Whereas if you get a pen like the VAC 700, man, you can get a lot of different spare nib options for a pen like this. So that's really the biggest difference between those 4 nibs.